spouse with understanding in the name of love. On a personal note, I've had the privilege of having John and Krista into my home, and in that very informal, private setting, we do a number of things. One of the things that I enjoy the most, I guess, is because I love to hear love stories. So I let them share their love story with me. Now, you know, most of you know that, I guess you remember, or you knew them back then, that they met back in 2005. You were young then, weren't you? 2005. And finally, John, you had the courage on October the 10th of last year to ask the big question. He asked the big question. And I know you're probably ready for him next. Now, Krista, there's a couple things that I want to remind you of today about your man. First, I want you to admire how handsome he is. She says he is. Does everybody agree? He's very, very handsome. Very handsome. Secondly, I hope you agree with me. Because he saw something in you that was so different, that impressed him, he had the courage to ask you the big question. The big question. Would you not agree with me that that makes him very intelligent? Well, let's move on because we don't have a pen to put in his head. Let's say at least one very special thing about the bride. We can say a lot more. But I always think about the day of the wedding and the difference between the preparation time of the groom and the bride. Now, he got in the shower and he's cleaned himself up and he looks really nice. But you invested probably a little more time for this event than he did. But the main thing I want to say is thank you for preparing, presenting yourself to John and to all of us as the most beautiful bride that you possibly could be on this your very special wedding day. You know, I forgot to ask you if you are you a good cook?
Getting there.
Getting there. You know, good cooks follow good recipes, don't they?
Yes.
Well, I wanted to come up with something a little different, so some time ago I sat down and wrote out a recipe. And in my recipe, I put some ingredients that I think are absolutely important to produce a long-lasting, blessed marriage. So here are the ingredients now for my recipe for marriage. 1 cup of courtesy. 2 cups of milk of human kindness. 2 cups of thank yous. 1 gallon of faith in God and each other. But only 1 small pinch of in-laws. 3 drops of pure extract of I'm sorry or forgive me. What about 2 cups of patience and 1 cup of contentment? 1 cup each of confidence and encouragement. And put in 1 cup of blindness to each other's faults. Now, in this recipe, you have to stir it regularly and remove any specks of temper, jealousy, or criticism. You got to sweeten it well with a generous portion of humility and honesty. And finally, John, you never served this recipe with a hot tongue. Krista, with a cold shoulder. That's a good recipe. A friend of mine wrote these words entitled The Institution of Marriage. The institution of marriage was begun that a man and woman might learn how to love, and in loving know joy. That a man and woman might learn how to share pain and loneliness, and in sharing know strength. That a man and woman might learn how to give, and in giving know communion. The institution of marriage was begun that a man and woman might, through their joy, their strength, and their communion, become creators of life itself. Marriage is a high and holy state to be held in honor among all men and women. So this is the reason for our gathering here today, to renew our faith in the strength of hope and the power of love. When I opened my Bible and I began to read the creation story in the first chapters of the book of Genesis, I found these words. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Now, why is this text so important? Because in the Hebrew concept of marriage and in the Hebrew language, the word translated from Hebrew into English, unite, means to glue together. So what is the word picture in the creation story of marriage? God gluing two people together. God gluing two people together. And it's His perfect plan that you never allow anybody or anything to unglue you. But John and Krista, today you two are entering into life's most important of all human relationships. This relationship centers not only around your affection for one another, but also companionship and mutual respect. Let me remind you that a good marriage brings comfort from there's sorrow, peace when there's unrest, and laughter when there's happiness. Your love for each other is going to make your burdens lighter because you're going to divide them. It's going to make your joys more intense because you're going to share them. It's going to make the two of you become involved in life in ways that you would dare not risk if you stayed single, alone. Your love is going to make you stronger together than if you'd chosen to remain apart. I want to remind you that like the waters of the ocean, there are smooth days, there are rough days. But also remember that in each other and in the presence and power of God in your lives, you will find shelter from the storms that may be encountered and strength to carry on. So John and Krista, today, let this day be one of joy and laughter as you begin your lives together as husband and wife. There is a miracle that happens when two people say, I do. And from that moment forward, live a dream that's shared by two. But somehow love grows dear through the seasons, through the years, as they share life's road together. All its laughter, all its tears. The miracle of love is like the miracle of a flower. We've got some beautiful ones here, don't we? It thrives upon the sunshine of a smile. It entwines itself around the heart. Its roots are secured in the memories of yesterday, and its petals breathe the promise of joy-filled tomorrows. To be loved is to know happiness and contentment, and to give love is to know the joy of sharing oneself. And so it is through the miracle of love that the two of you are going to discover the fullness of life. But let me remind you that this is a very precious thing that only loving couples can ever know, for it truly is a miracle just how close your two hearts can grow. Now, I'm going to put your imagination hats on. I don't think I'd be stretching here. I can't remember what your ages are. But today is March the 5th, right? What year? All right. Let me take you out to March 5th, 2061. What would you be celebrating on that day? 50th anniversary. Now you say, well, that's a lot of water over the dam. What I'm doing today is to plant the seed. Can you dream of 50 years together? Can you dream of 50 years together?